Okay, I will ask that, Fred, welcome. Just give you a chance to sit down. At this time, Jerry Langley is going to give the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we're grateful and thankful for this very moment in time. God, we thank you for your peace and your sincerity in our lives. And God, we just ask that you continue to bless this board, that we will make wise and prudent decisions, and that we will be a guiding light in the times of these turbulent times. Help us to stay focused and to stay on course. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. At this time, I'll call the March Board of Commissioners meeting to order. I would ask that you cut your cell phones off, please. Otherwise, you'll have to give me $20. So, and that usually the first one that goes off is somebody up here. So, Ed, you gonna lead?
Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item is conflict of interest. Does any one of the commissioners have a conflict? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move to the next item is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the agenda, please raise your right hand. Okay, now we're down to items for presentation, and these are our service award, and Katie is going to be participating in this because the normal person is receiving one of the awards.
Good evening. I'm going to start out with Kevin Sitterson from the Sheriff's Office with 10 years of service.
You want a picture?
Did you want to turn and?
Your captain wants the picture, though. You don't have to say.
Very good.
Our next one is Felina Pittman with 25 years with the tax office. Felina's not here.
Yeah, please.
We have Dolores Kreisman with 20 years with Human Resources. Then we have those that aren't here right at the moment is Stephen Elliott, 15 years with the Water Department, and Lynn Grimes with DSS, 30 years.
Okay, we're down to the next presentation. That's going to be a DSS presentation from the state office, and this is going to be a Zoom call. Is that right, Lori?
That's right.
Okay.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services recently received a complaint from the Office of Representative Keith Kidwell concerning some child welfare cases here in Beaufort County DSS. When complaints of this nature are received, the DHHS conducts a formal review of those cases. So at this time, I want to introduce Meredith Houchins. She's the interim section chief of the county operations, and Donna Faco, the Deputy Director of the Child Welfare Operations, and they are joining us by WebEx.
Thank you for allowing us to be here virtually tonight. We apologize for not being there in person. We are in different parts of the state, so we weren't able to be there in person. But we did want to spend a few minutes and read to you the letter that was given to Beaufort County Department of Social Services. So the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Social Services, has completed the review of the complaints filed against the Beaufort County Department of Social Services through NC Representative Keith Kidwell's office. We take all concerns seriously and regularly review county child welfare records and practice for compliance with North Carolina's law, rule, and policy. Issues that were raised during the Beaufort County Board of Commissioners meeting and then shared on social media were addressed by a thorough review of 3 case reviews. And after a thorough review of those case files to include caseworker documentation, medical, dental, and mental health notes, and court documents, it was determined that Beaufort County Department of Social Services acted within policy and statute. As a result of this case review, North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services noted one systemic issue for improvements regarding court proceedings. There were multiple court continuances in each case. Most continuances were due to court scheduling restrictions from October 2024 through May 2025. Cases were recalendared for hearing due to the court having a 10-case limit per court date. This attributed to the court district transitioning into the new e-court system. We appreciate your cooperation in allowing us to come into your agency with short notice to interview staff and review records. The case files were found to be organized and documentation was well written, clearly outlining the work done with each family. And we concluded with how to reach us if you had any questions. Donna, would you like to add to that?
I think that it's important for the commissioners to know that very frequently when the state has to step into a county to review records around concerns, that it's rare that we come away with this clean of a report. So I think that you should be proud of the work being done in Beaufort County. And I think that your social workers and your leaders should be commended for the work they're doing there.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And there's a copy of the letter if you guys would like to have that.
Thank you. Okay, we're down to the public comments, and again, I'll remind you, you have three minutes, and if you kind of lean around, you'll be able to see the 3-minute on that TV or this TV, either one. So the first one is Juanita.
I'm Juanita. You guys are familiar with me, and I absolutely love that I get to come on after that. Systematic failures, your report for this year showed overall a 70% failure rate by your own review. That is a state review, ma'am, found online. You have a missing child. You went through 3 cases, and you currently have 136 children by your own minutes in Beaufort County. And you expect us to be impressed that you reviewed 3 cases? We are not. You have had a rape in your office. You have had a child die in your custody. And these are just the parents we've spoken to. There is systematic failures in the court system. First it was COVID. Now you say it's the e-file system. There is no excuse for any adjudication in Beaufort County by federal law or your North Carolina state law to go past 90 days. On average, these children are in care 3 to 5 years. How is that acceptable? This board has said it does not have the power, that it is limited. Well, let me just go over your budget here, which I found online. It is a link over $14 million you guys voted for social services. 6.78 million comes from the taxpayers of Beaufort County. The other is matched by federal funds. Tell me how that is acceptable and that you cannot do anything. You employ 101 for the sheriff's department, but you pay the salaries for 114 social service workers. Why is it bigger than those that protect the entire county? I think that needs looked at. I think that you guys are held to a higher standard. That's a whole lot of power for one office. And the state wants us to be impressed that you've reviewed 3 cases. Currently, we have 43 parents. 43 parents have come forward with problems, not just with the court system, but the workers themselves. You have the DSS budget, which we sat in on, and Mr. Booth, you know, you were there. There is no funding in that budget for reunification, but there certainly was for foster care. There certainly was for adoption. How is that correct? It is not. It is not acceptable. We have a God-given right with our children. We have a God-given right for you to show evidence and for us to be able to face those that accuse us. We are not given that right in this county. It is, I will hold your children until you either comply and I will put them through misery. They are putting children in locked facilities. There is several lawsuits in the state of North Carolina by the Disability Rights Commission, and it happened to my own son. And the caseworker's sitting here, and so is Lori Leggett, and I don't care to call them out on it. It is wrong.
Jessica?
Talk about maxims tonight. A legal maxim is an established principle or proposition of law. These following maxims were taken directly from Mann's Law Dictionaries and court cases referenced from Bouvier's Law Dictionary by John Bouvier, Legal Maxims by Broom and Bouvier, A Dictionary of Law by William C. Anderson, Black's Law Dictionary by Henry Campbell Black, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th editions, and Maxim of Law by Charles A. Wiseman. They apply one way or the other to child welfare and family court cases, and to the way that county commissioners do business on behalf of the people, for the people, and by the people. We also share these specifically because they have been severely violated in the cases coming before you publicly and on behalf of the ones still hiding in the dark behind closed doors. If ever the law of God and man are at a variance, the former are to be obeyed in derogation of the latter. That which is against divine law is repugnant to society and is void. Human things never prosper when divine things are neglected. He who acts badly hates the light. He who does not willingly speak the truth is a betrayer of the truth. He who does not speak the truth is a traitor to the truth. The truth that is not sufficiently defended is frequently overpowered. And he who does not disapprove approves. Suppression of the truth is equivalent to the expression of what is false. Truth fears nothing but concealment. Truth is the mother of justice. The act of God does no injury. That is, no one is responsible for inevitable accidents. The power which is derived cannot be greater than that from which it is derived. Every jurisdiction has its own bounds. It is the duty of a good judge to remove the cause of litigation. The end of litigation is justice. The government cannot confer a favor which occasions injury and loss to others. The government is to be subject to the law, for the law makes government. The law is not to be violated by those in government. An action is not given to him who has received no damages. No man ought to be burdened in consequence of another's act. Wrong is wiped out by reconciliation. Consent makes the law. A contract is a law between the parties which can acquire force only by consent. He who mistakes is not considered as consenting. Every consent involves a submission, but a mere submission does not necessarily involve consent. A contract founded on a base and unlawful consideration or against good morals is null. The agreement of the parties overcomes or prevails against the law. Advice, unless fraudulent, does not create an obligation. In the agreements of the contracting parties, the rule is to regard the intention rather than the words.
Thank you.
Almost.
Next one is Sarah.
My name's Sarah Lee, Family Integrity Advocate. Do we also have the other representatives on the video with us as well? Or are they just kind of in the background there from the state? Oh, we don't know, okay. I need to tell you that I'd like to address the comments that were made the last meeting. First off, thank you for talking about your circumstances as a child. It's very brave of you to even speak about that, let alone acknowledge that happened in public. And so I want to thank you for sharing that with us because it's brave to speak about that. Also, your instances with the system it shows us that you can step into our shoes and that you understand some of the things that we're going through. So thank you to both of you gentlemen for speaking on behalf of the people, because that's exactly why you're sitting there. You're supposed to speak on behalf of the people. For the gentleman that did not vote on the amended, try to get this addressed somehow, some way, you're gonna have to stand before Christ one day, and you're gonna either hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," or "I knew you not." So that's just, gotta put that out there. Sir, I know you're smiling about that, but you walk two worlds as a pastor and a deputy. You walk natural law and man's law. You have to choose between the two. And we don't have all that much time. Anyway, within the last week, you had a young lady here who I was on the phone with, and I told her that her fellow social worker was committing perjury to take a baby from its mother at the hospital. And she ran right out of there and took the baby out of the hospital because the social worker had committed perjury. It's in the statutes. It's part of the statutes. It does apply to social workers via Hogan v. Cherokee. So it's on your doorstep, sir. You can close the curtains to your house, but it's on your doorstep. Okay? And she took the baby, who is in the crucial moments of development as an infant who needs his mother. When she was asked about her parental fitness and replied that she was, and that she had the things for her child, and that she had support, and she had all those things, and the social workers lied about it to get a petition from a judge. That is going to the DOJ, gentlemen, and I am taking it there personally, because we do not lie to take children, as somebody said we're not supposed to. No one alleged bad or evil, sir, but all have fallen short of the glory of God. All are born sinful, and every person in this room can make a decision that hurts somebody else or refrain from hurting somebody else, but let the hurt happen by somebody else. None of us in this room are perfect. None of us are Jesus Christ, and all of us have the duty to step up when something is wrong and to correct it, because he was not wrong in talking about the Nazis, because he could have added Native Americans, Asians. He could have added the orphan train. Those things happen in our country. It's happening now to our families, and it's got to stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one is Nick.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for listening to me this evening. My name is Nick Fritz. I'm Mayor Pro Tem, City Council of Washington, but tonight I'm speaking primarily as a citizen of the city. I've debated if I should speak to you about the 15th Street project specifically, that the fact that destroying the main arterial road in the city for several years would certainly impact business and commerce. I could talk about the difficulty of getting the fire trucks and ambulances across town during the 3 to 10 years of construction of the project. Currently, it's the main thoroughfare for both those emergency services. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the 150-page DOT study on crash statistics put out last year, and you know that the city of Washington and Beaufort County are safer than average. I'm sure you know that the most dangerous roads are always the mixed-use roads because they combine residential traffic with through traffic. I'm sure you know that the top 10 most fatal stretches of road in North Carolina are mixed-use roads that have put in medians. But I'm sure you know all that. The prime reason I'm here tonight is to address big brotherism. We're all elected to represent the will of the citizens. This project is widely supported by the bureaucracy and widely rejected by the people. This project came before the people 10 years ago, and the city council asked Mr. Alligood to remove it from the STIP and scrap it, but he refused to do that. When DOT put out a survey, 89% of the people who took the survey opposed the project and that they proceeded forward. When it came before the city council last year, a coalition of opposed citizens voiced their concerns to the council, and the council turned a deaf ear. The leader of that coalition was promptly elected as the mayor and ousted a popular incumbent. Every square inch of the 1.4-mile stretch of road that the DOT wants to tear up lies inside the city limits of Washington. And yet tonight, at the prompting of Mr. Alligood and Mr. Booth, both of whom are advocating for the DOT this evening, the county commissioners are voting to twist the arm of the representatives of the city of Washington to vote in favor of a project that the citizens clearly do not want. I don't believe in big brotherism. This project may or may not be what is in the best interest of the city according to the bureaucrats, but the citizens don't want it. I ask that you do not vote to browbeat another elected body to support something that their constituents are not interested in. We represent the people, not the TAC, the TCC, or the DOT. Please don't resolve to coerce your fellow representatives or your fellow citizens. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Charles?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and fellow members. My name is Charles Phillips. I'm here with my partner, Bob Rich. Bob and I are probably the second largest owners and taxpayers on this section of 15th Street, with our ownership of Midtown Crossing Shopping Center, Tractor Supply Shopping Center, as some people call it. We are in favor of the plan presented by NCDOT. 15th Street is one of the most dangerous roadways in eastern North Carolina, and it will only get worse unless it's improved. We often hear from our tenants in our center asking and concerned about their safety, their employees' safety, their customers' safety, and they're always asking, when will something be done? Under the current plan, we, like a lot of others, are going to sacrifice real estate property. We're also going to sacrifice a stoplight that leads directly into our shopping center, which is a huge sacrifice for any commercial property owner. We're willing to do this in exchange for safety and the benefit of the lives saved with this improvement plan. The NCDOT is paying for this improvement project 100% with an estimated cost of at least $38.6 million, of which $7.5 million is earmarked for replacing the infrastructure that's aging under 15th Street. Some of those pipes are over 80 years old. They will also add new pedestrian crossings and sidewalks, much needed safety features. This is all at no cost to the city or the taxpayers. A win-win, a true bird nest on the ground. I'm a practicing commercial real estate broker for over 40 years in Washington. The impact of this project goes far beyond the actual improvement area of the project. It's vital to look at the future of Washington as well as the immediate concerns. Stand with me for a minute at the intersection of Highway 17, Carolina Avenue, and 15th Street in front of the Rich Company. Stand with me for a minute and look north towards Williamston. There's one site that's viable at Beyond Lowe's that consists of about 8 acres. Now turn to the east with me and look down 15th Street, all the way to the hospital. There are only two pieces of property available. One is 6 acres and one is 3.7 acres. Now turn and face south with me and look down Carolina Avenue all the way to the river. There's not one viable site. Now finally, let's turn and look down 15th Street Extension towards Sheets. Along this corridor, there are approximately 68 acres of vacant property with over almost 3,500 feet of frontage on 15th Street. This is a prime area for development.
Sorry, Charles.
With 2 speakers, can I have more than 3 minutes?
Yeah, I'll give you,
It won't be long.
He's only got 30 seconds left.
okay, well, that's fair. There's 2 of you up there.
Clearly, this is the only viable future growth corridor Washington can offer, the gateway to Greenville and all points west. The NCDOT plan gives Washington and Beaufort County the ability to grow on this important corridor. What an opportunity to substantially increase its tax base. This certainly does not stand a chance without good traffic flow. Let's look at this project not just as a quick fix. This project is a major contributor to the future safety and economic viability of this community. We realize it is impossible to please everyone on a project of this scale, but we feel the NCDOT plan is for the greater good of Washington and Beaufort County. So we encourage you to pick up that bird nest on the ground and let's get this project moving. Thank you for supporting the NCDOT project.
Thank you.
I used up Bob's time.
You still didn't get 6 minutes in, Charles. Okay, we're down to the legislative updates, and I do not see either one. So we'll go to the items for consent, and I'll ask if anyone has an item they want to pull for discussion. Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent items, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Thank you. Okay, we're down to items for decision, economic development. And Susan, you're up.
Good evening, Commissioners. In December, Beaufort County issued an RFQ for engineering services to support infrastructure improvements at the Washington Beaufort County Industrial Park following our award of a IDF fund grant. Using a qualifications-based selection process under the Minnie Brooks Act, L.E. Wooten and Company was determined to be the most qualified firm. As you are aware, the project includes roadway and utility extensions to open the remaining lots in the park, along with design, permitting, construction administration, inspection, and grant administration services. The total engineering contract is $327,200 funded through the IDF grant and related sources. It is the recommendation of our office the board approved the agreement and authorizes the county to execute the necessary documents. I'll take questions.
Questions of Susan? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. I got a motion to approve the agreement, and we have a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, Lloyd? This is the Board of Equalization and Review dates that we are coming up on.
Okay, I want to add just a little bit to this. So these are the dates, but just keeping in mind, this is actually the beginning date and the adjournment date for the Board of Equalization Review. What that means is essentially that's just the marker for when we can accept, my office can accept appeals this year, and when we then begin hearing appeals during that time period. So these aren't necessarily the only dates that you can hear appeals. We can set other dates after these dates. but this is the cutoff for when we take appeals, is what we're setting. So we would actually like the first meeting, we propose April 20th, and then, of course, the adjournment the following week on a Monday. However, we have a couple dates that week or either week we could work if it cannot work for y'all. So those would be the ones we would say. So again, would be the first meeting of the Board of Equalization Review. We're going to go over some things at that meeting, probably hear some cases. That'd be on the 20th. And then we would adjourn our business session, so to speak, on the 27th. But we can, of course, still, as y'all know, hear other cases if we have enough throughout the year, as long as they've come in by those dates or meet requirements.
We're finishing up the year of 2026, 2025.
No, this is actually going to be for the items that are billed in the coming year. So
Oh, okay.
We're done with last year's stuff.
That's what I thought. I mean, yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say somebody doesn't try to talk to you about something like that, but we'll discuss that at the beginning date.
Everybody okay?
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna be able to take up people that want to discuss their property values from last year if they didn't come this year. Am I right?
You're not a, my understanding, and always has been in all the years of doing this, is there are very few avenues for retroactivity. Retroactivity is something that tax law is not really built around. So you'd be hearing them for the year that they're going to build for July and August.
Exactly, but.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it'll be for the whatever, if they're not happy with their value.
Correct.
They've had a,
For instance, I had a gentleman that I spoke to today. He missed last year, he just missed it. And he admitted he wasn't mad about it. Said, I just missed it. I didn't get my appeal in, but I'm appealing this year. You can hear it on the merits for this year and you can go forward from there.
okay. And what is your feeling of the amount of people that may be coming forth?
We have over 100, but I mean, we've not got, we're nowhere like last year. I mean, we're expecting a couple hundred probably as far as it goes because people did miss it. And we know people are going to come. We also had a few that got perk tests through the year or from last year. They came in and we said, guys, you need a perk test. You don't have one. So they went and got one. They wanted to come for this year, do things like that. So we're expecting maybe a couple hundred, but it could always change from there. But so
It could be
far,
even, we'll meet at least through April, don't you think?
I would be surprised if we don't meet. Of course, we try to work with them and do what we can. We've already worked with a few, got everything fixed, but I would go so far as to say these 2 sessions may not be enough, but you'd probably still be hearing them in May or so, I would think.
Okay, thanks.
And we also usually do one in November for personal property, and that would be a catch-all later in the year.
But what the public should be aware of,
Yeah.
if they were not happy with last year, they missed the appeal,
Yeah.
something didn't happen, or if you appealed and you still missed it, and you're not happy with that, you can come back this year, but you need to bring some better and new information if you come back.
Well, let me play to that. I think that's a great point, but let me add to that. So, for instance, you can hear it, but the burden changes a little in an off reval year. We still have to use the same sales. I mean, we're not using 25 sales no matter what. We still have to use the ones that came up to make the reval. We still have to use the schedule for the reval. But like I did have a gentleman that came in with a lot more pictures, a lot better thing, and an engineer report. Oh yeah. I mean, we're going to look at that. I mean, that's something we should look at. He has that information, and we're going to be able to put that together and come up with another value. So I agree to your point, Commissioner, but at the same time, still have to be very careful the years are separate.
Katie, do we need a motion?
Can,
On the dates?
item for decision. So,
Yes? Okay. I got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the approval of April the 20th and April the 27th, raise your right hand. Thank you very much, Lloyd. Okay, we're down to Janelle. Reclassification of public health nurse 3 to a medical assistant.
Yes, sir. Good evening. How is everybody?
Fine.
I kind of mentioned this a little bit to you guys during our budget retreat, but something I kind of foresaw in the future for us is our extreme nursing shortage. I mean, this is a statewide issue. It's across the countrywide issue. And one solution that we came up with was basically downgrading our public health nurse 3 position to medical assistants. And this is, when we calculated it, even at most, if all the stars align, which y'all know how that goes with hiring and things of that nature, we would still be able to get 2 for the price of 1 because I cannot afford nurses and what they're going for these days. Just a little backdrop of that too. We had 1 RN position that was vacant since October 2025. It's still vacant. And the RN position that left, which is the primary care that I'm looking to downgrade, was here for a little over not quite a year. They were only with us. And so we can't compete. And so downgrading this to a medical assistant will allow them to work directly with the providers. Now that we have family nurse practitioners, they fall under the orders of those providers versus the RNs we currently have in their programs that have to fall under standing orders and are required by the state. And so that is my request, is to downgrade those to the medical assistant positions.
Questions? Hood?
Just for clarity, you want to take the one position, downgrade it, and make it into two positions.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be adding a job to the payroll.
Yes, sir. And they would be, so right now, I have nurses that are dual responsible basically for their programs mandated by the state, that I have them rotating in for check-in and check-out. With the MA, they would each be able to report directly to the FMPs, which would allow my RN positions to do their job for the mandated state programs, as well as the other clinics that don't require that provider and do require that RN. So immunizations, our general clinic, things of that nature.
I'm just a little bit puzzled by why you need the two positions, why we don't just do one of these.
I mean, we can try one, but I'm telling you, we're still gonna fall short. I still have a nurse's position that's vacant and has been vacant for the CD position that I can't even find anyone to apply for it since October. And the reason being is I can't come anywhere near their salary.
Well, looking at your total number of people on the payroll, why don't we say this? We will reclassify two positions, but we're not adding anybody to the payroll.
Well, the CD position cannot be reclassified because it's required by the state to be an RN. If I could put an MA in there, I would.
But you can abandon the position.
No, CD is a mandated
It's
program by the
mandated,
state.
so you have to keep it there and keep the job open.
Yes, sir.
I'm willing to vote to reclassify the person. I'm not willing to increase the number of people on the payroll.
I just think it's gonna be a continual battle that we face with nurses, and this helps me take some off too of the nurses that I currently have to still do their normal duties plus the clinic, but allow them in the programs, because right now they're being pulled in all different ways, and I can't get anyone in there to help them. And these MAs would allow that by, again, they're able to, if the provider tells them XYZ, because we do now, which is different, we used to not have two providers, they're able to tell them exactly this, and they're able to follow suit. Whereas an RN doesn't need that, which is why they're able to be in those other programs.
Any other comment?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Captain Miller? You're going to talk to us about insurance reimbursement and vehicle purchase.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Sheriff's Office has received, or the county, excuse me, has received $55,805 in insurance proceeds related to Sheriff's Office vehicle accidents. We were respectfully requesting that money, to be returned, and this will cover a vehicle virus that one of our members was T-boned for citizen Randy stoplight, and T-boned him and rolled the vehicle and totaled it out.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to approve the use of the insurance proceeds being moved to the capital budget.
Let's wait, let's talk about this a minute. How many vehicles were you in your budget this year?
10.
Okay, so we've appropriated money for 10. If we do this the way you want to do it, we're appropriating money for 11, but one of those is a replacement vehicle.
Correct. Is a replacement from the previous year.
Okay, otherwise this money would go into the general fund. Okay, I can't find anything wrong with that, because we're not increasing the budget, we're not increasing the number.
Correct.
But, haven't we replaced another vehicle this year that was wrecked?
No, sir.
We have not?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Did I have a motion?
Yes. And I second.
And a second. Okay, anybody else have any All right, everyone in favor of the motion to move that over into capital for another purchase, raise your right hand. Okay. All right, and you want to move to the purchase?
Yes, sir.
of,
The second item is we're seeking approval for $127,435 to purchase 3 vehicles.
Yes, yes.
That's already budgeted, isn't it?
Yes, sir. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. The amount of this is $127,435. This is to purchase 2 Dodge Durandos and 1 Jeep Grand Cherokee. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is, let's see, it's Christina. And if it's okay with the commissioners, I think what she would like to do is hear our comments so that they can go back and continue to work on it. I know that Commissioner Dunn has got some recommendation or some questions, and we'll let everybody do it, but we won't proceed beyond that tonight. Is that fair enough?
Or for us to determine what we want the next steps to be.
Okay.
If you'd like to continue discussing it in the monthly commissioners meeting, or if you would like to have a breakout session like a workshop where some details can be discussed a little bit more. Anyone who's looked at the agenda book, there is a lot of information. There's 3 ordinances that are presented. Obviously, legal documents with a lot of requirements that are new, that would be new to the people in Beaufort County. So there's a lot of specific information in there that we just want to make sure that everyone is well aware of what's included in the ordinances.
Mr. Chair, if I'm in order in the essence of time, I wish we would do a breakout session because this is very, very large item, and it's gonna have a lot of questions. So I wish we would have, one evening, we just have a session to sit down and go over these discussions.
All right, you want to choose a date? You want to do it like at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then everybody look at their calendar?
Easily.
How about the 23rd or the 24th of March? That- It's a Monday. 23rd is Monday, 24th is a Tuesday. Want to go with Monday? Okay, at 5. Let's do that, Katie. 23rd at 5. Okay. You good with that? I didn't ask you if you were available.
I am.
Things I'd like to mention that would be helpful.
Okay.
One is, is there a way to get, there's nothing in here that makes a lien mandatory when we do this. It says may. I think we need to find a way. I'm not willing to give people that abandon boats and buy a mobile home and abandon it, and leave it for the public to dispose of, and leave a junk car somewhere. I'm not willing to give them a free ride. There needs to be something in here, mandatory liens when the county pays money to have these things disposed of. That's just my thought. I didn't see anything in here that makes it mandatory.
So just from the may to the shall.
Yeah.
The language that are in all 3 of the ordinances, obviously, is based upon other existing ordinances that are in other counties
Yeah.
or municipalities. And looking at, West and I can't even count the number of ordinances that we've reviewed. The language is very similar, but there are exactly as you're mentioning, one or two words that may be different. But typically, in the ordinances, it has shall, because it does give that little bit of
Right.
where you're able to
And then
determine.
I don't want an answer now because we'll take it up in the breakout session, but the mechanics of a complaint. Because there's nothing in here that gives mechanics of complaint. It says county officers, county this, county that. What about the public? What about if somebody, so just
So are
think
you
about that.
thinking along the lines of, is a verbal complaint, does it need to be a written
How do
complaint?
you- yeah.
Exactly, how does the complaint
Something
need to be
that
issued
says
to
how a
us?
person can complain, and it may turn out that we don't even need that, but I think we need to address it as to how complaints are made. And then the only other thing is at the tail end of a couple of these, like on page 6 of something here, the last one, and it's in some others, I think it's a typo, it says the division will determine the actual charges, but there's no definition of what a division is. So I think that's
Yes,
just a
sir.
typo.
It is.
Yeah.
Because different counties, different agencies do it. One of the challenges in writing the ordinances for Beaufort County is in the majority of government agencies, it's a planning, it's a responsibility of the planning department because they have zoning. And
We
so
don't
through
have
your
that.
zoning ordinance, a lot of the requirements are laid out. And because Beaufort County does not have that, we're having to kind of create the system in order to have the controls.
And then, when you get into liens, you get into enforcing the lien.
Yes,
So
sir.
we might want to designate an enforcer of the lien, because if you just do a lien and let it lay there, they're not going to pay it. But if you do a lien and you have some enforcement,
I think the language that's in there is that the lien will be looked at as unpaid taxes and will be
well, that means
collected
we're going to
in
be
that.
enforcing it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, as long as we have some way to enforce it.
Okay. Wes, will you send us an update on where we're at on bringing some of their convenient sites up to our safety, the construction that we're doing? You don't have to do it here.
Site improvements?
Yes.
I can do that real quickly if that's okay.
Okay.
The Buck Jones site is in progress. I spoke to the contractor earlier today. They're thinking they will be wrapping up in about 2 weeks, at which point, we don't want to close the site for the weekend because they're not going to be working on the weekend anyway. So we open the Buck Jones site up on a Friday or a Saturday. We will then proceed to the Pantego site the following week.
Okay.
And then once Pantego's done, 5 Points will be the last one.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're down to the finance office, and Anita.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Start on page 146, please. Here tonight, my first item is reimbursement number 15 for the Washington Elementary School project. As you can see on page 146, WIMCO has submitted an invoice totaling $2,798,610.53. The grant portion of that invoice that we will be reimbursed for is $2,260,437.73, with the county share coming out of that $10 million transfer that we have set aside, $538,172.80. On page 147, you have the actual reimbursement form that will be sent to the state. Behind that, on page 149, you can see the detail from the architect, Heighton Associates, detailing all the invoices we've paid thus far. There have been 0 change orders for this project to date. The project is 66.7%, or 2/3 of the way complete, and is still projected to be completed on time. Behind that, the following
I
pages.
have a question on page 149.
Yes, sir.
It says the original contract sum, $43,120,100, but there's $52 million in the kitty, so there's $8,880,000. I haven't seen a budget for that. Where is that money gonna be spent?
Yes, that budget was
brought before the board, and y'all approved that.
Can you put it in our packet next month?
I sure can. I can email it to you as well in the morning, but
Okay.
there are things like furniture and fixtures in there. There's a little bit of contingency in there. There's a surplus line in there where I anticipate a transfer back to the general fund because the project is not expected to be 52 million. I'm going from memory here, but it's expected to come in at 49 point some million.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So just looking for a motion to allow the chairman to sign the reimbursement form and allow me to send it in for reimbursement to the state and pay our vendor, please.
Okay, just for the record, we're approving $2,798,610.53. This is our, what number is it, 15 or 6?
It's 15.
15.
Yes, sir.
Disbursement. And everything seems to really be moving along. I think the dedication ribbon cutting is like August the 17th or 19th is what?
Sometime in
Ed,
August,
did you-
I'm not familiar with the date. 17.
Okay, so, all right. We got a motion and a second, right? All those in favor of the motion, raise your
I'll
right
second.
hand. Raise your right hand if you approve. Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you want to go to your next item, which is the reclassification?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 171, so in a similar manner, I am here, as Janelle was earlier, requesting a reclassification of a position within our finance department. And I know y'all hate doing this outside of the budget process. The reason I think that it's okay to do that is because this is not going to cost any additional county money above the current appropriation for salary and benefits within our division. If it had of, I would have brought it to you during the budget process, but again, 0 additional county dollars for this. And it is important to do it now because I have a vacancy right now that I'm trying to fill, and this will help with recruitment. But I am asking for that reclassification, and the justification for the reclass is there listed in the middle of the page in the middle of page 171. And just to briefly go through those with you, this upgraded position will be assisting a lot with grant management, and we've got a lot of grants moving through this county for water projects, for emergency management projects. I had one on the agenda tonight for veterans. They've had 2 recent grants, and that's just to name the ones off the top of my head, but we're really managing a lot and administering a lot of grants. In addition to that, this position will also be helping me with the budget development and coordinating and putting things together for the budget. And I think a very important part of this reclass will be allowing the person in this position to kind of help me automate some of our processes. So we want to explore digitizing requests for payments from other departments to pay vendors. And we also want to look at the possibility of changing from writing a check to our vendors to sending ACH payments. And I included some documentation in your packet about how that is much more efficient and much safer from a fraud standpoint. You can see.
We'll take up the ACH payments after we take up the personnel thing. I don't want ACH to be tagged to, we're gonna hire this employee and we're gonna go to ACH.
Oh, no,
I
no,
wanna
no.
talk about ACH.
We can talk about it, but yeah, you can see all the reasons listed there why it's a smart move for us to look at ACH. I think we're kind of behind the curve when it comes to that. We do that currently with our debt payments, and we always have, even before my time sent those that way. But yeah, they're a much safer way to send payments this day and time. So having said all that, are there any questions about the reclassification that I requested tonight?
Any questions from the commissioners?
What is the difference in salary between the midpoints in those 2 grades?
So the difference is $4,035. Can I grab my sheet of paper?
Tell us what that new salary.
I can't tell you what the new salary is gonna be, because when we hire, we base the salary on qualifications, so I can tell you, I wrote down the hiring range for a pay grade 64. It's $43,855, and the two grades higher, a pay grade 66, the hiring rate is $47,890, so a difference of $4,035.
Motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the reclassification of the accounts payable specialist to an accounting specialist, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay,
Thank you, 5. Appreciate you.
all right. You still have to stay. Okay, we're scheduled for a break at 7 o'clock, and we're moving right along. So we're gonna continue. And the next item is the.
I thought we were gonna have some discussion about ACH payments.
Well, we can. I'm sorry. Come back up.
You have it on the agenda.
No, it's not.
Well, I believe it's in my agenda book, so is mine lying to me?
No, it's one of the comments.
Yeah, it's just part of my justification for upgrading this position, so we can explore. I'm not saying we're moving tomorrow to ACH payments. I want to explore the benefits of doing that and what that looks like for us. That would be a long process for us to switch over to that.
Well, the one point I want to make on ACH payments is, I don't mind all of these fancy things of everybody having their money on the computer and thinking that they're safe, when you're not. I want to be sure that people who want to be paid with a check can be paid with a check. Because I have people that call me and try to browbeat me. We're gonna put this in your bank account. No, you're not gonna do that.
Understand. All I can tell you is we've had at least 2 instances in the last 2 years where people have gotten hold of our checks and whitewashed them and tried to steal money from our bank account.
Same thing happened for the last 100 years. Nothing new.
Yeah, but if we can prevent that from happening, I certainly think that's the prudent and proper thing to do.
What are you gonna do when the cloud locks up and you can't pay anybody? Period. You got no money and you've got liens coming at you. All I'm advocating for is for people who are old-fashioned like me and believe in real money, that they can be paid with a check if they want to be paid with a check. That's all I'm saying. When you
Yes,
look
sir.
at your system, look
Thank
at
you.
it that way.
I'll look at that.
Because there may be some law coming out of the legislature on this, which says that you cannot force people to take money, because a lot of this stuff is against the law on money. U.S. currency says it's good for all debts, public and private, and you're getting far away from that. And there are legislatures who are thinking about going back and reinforcing the law.
I can respect what you're saying. I mean, I wrote a check today, so I'm a little old school myself. So I'm willing to do both, so.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Well, when I do business with somebody, if they say they want to wire it to me, I say, just give me a few minutes and I'll give you the information. Money is money.
Well, me and you.
If it goes through the postal system, it may be 15 days before it gets there.
Problem with currency.
Okay, we're down to the resolution in support of NCDOT's Project U, 5860, 15th Street in Washington, and Commissioner Ed Booth.
Thank you. First of all, I want to, I brought this item up for 15th Street. If we sit down and look at the notice, that we have heard tonight about 400-some people against it. We have heard about, safety. I want to thank Mr. Phillip for bringing out safety. When you put safety over dollars, that take courage. And also, this 15th Street is in the city of Washington. Washington is in the county of Beaufort. I do not only represent Beaufort County, I represent the city of Washington too, which lies in Beaufort County. I've talked to some of the people that's on the list that we heard that was against it. Some of those have told me that if they knew what was happening, they wouldn't have signed it to start with. And in the rest of the time, I'm asked if if we can put this resolution on the string so people can read it and we can discuss it. And getting back to what you heard tonight about a few people, we're not here to serve a few people. We're here to serve everybody. I have worked with every municipality in this county. I have never been to a city council meeting since I've been here on this commission. I serve with them. I respect them. And when you say that a big brother thing, there's no big brother thing. It's about safety. People dying. I stand on my deck every week and see traffic where there's an accident. And getting back to it, if you want, wherever you go, Mr. Phillips, if I want to go to Tractor Supply, I can get there. If I want to go to McDonald's, I can get there. If I want to go buy a hamburger, I can get there. So this is not about politics. This is about the people of Beaufort County, that we're trying to do the right thing. And all of this money that's been allocated for 15th Street improvement, that's going to create jobs here in this county. Somebody's going to get some of that money that live here in this county. Sales tax going to come from some of that money here in this county. And I'm going to make this motion tonight. And like I said, Mr. Chairman, and that's at the time in your question, I will not read this resolution, but I'm going to make a motion that we pass this resolution.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, we have a second. Now we're open for discussion. Does anybody want any particular correction to the resolution or? Okay, let's see if there's any proposed changes in the word. Hearing none, the floor.
I have a question.
Well, is it a question on the resolution?
Yeah. Who wrote the resolution?
You didn't, I did.
You wrote that resolution?
Yeah, I wrote it.
Okay.
And the only thing that remind me of you is all them whereases. Thank you.
Well, good. I was glad I was able to help in that case.
All right.
It just did not look like your syntax, so I was wondering who wrote it.
That's because I just don't do it to do it. I do it with meaning.
Oh, okay. Writing with meaning. Fantastic. It had a lot of meaning for me.
Thank you, Stan.
Yeah, I got the meaning.
Stan, if you'll cut your mic off. Jerry?
You know, I just want to say this. I mean, it's a sad thing when even now, as you're riding down 15th Street, you either see people riding bicycles against the grain, or you have people walking, and especially the handicapped ones with the flags on the back of their motorized vehicles. I'm terrorized for them. I mean, it bothers me bad. And, you know, that's why I'm going to support this resolution. And I'm going to say that there have been many people who have gotten calls about the demise of loved ones. And that is not a good thing. And a lot of the people who have contacted me, they don't live on 15th Street. They don't have property on 15th Street. They're just sitting wherever they're sitting and deciding what's best for the residents on 15th Street and the businesses on 15th Street. So when they call me and talk to me, that's a different story. But people from other parts of town, no, I'm not going to really consider what you're talking about because my mind is made up. Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
I have a lot of compassion for the businesses that are out there. I know exactly what they're going to go through. I went through it on Main Street when we did similar work on Main Street. We didn't unlock our front door for 6 months. We had a 10-foot, trench in front of the store. So, but you've got to keep looking at it as progress. And look at our downtown now, and we had to get into that street to fix everything that was wrong. So, the safety issue, walking across Main Street is not walking across 15th Street. So when you start adding the safety factor to this thing, and I know I've talked to a lot of people in the last few days, but when you add the safety things, I really can't, go against this thing because, if I did tonight and somebody got hurt tomorrow, I'd feel terrible. So there we go.
Andy?
Well, I agree the safety issue, but I would wish that we could put it off until they have their meeting later on. The city has their meeting with DOT later on this month. Other than that, yeah, safety is a great concern.
Yeah, one more shot at it.
Yeah. No, but wait.
Go ahead, let him
Hold
go.
yours. Cut your mic off.
Yeah, we've heard about big brotherism tonight, and I think I understand what that means. We are the largest governing body here in Beaufort County. We're the body politic of the state of North Carolina. That means a lot. What we say makes a big difference. Now, I think in most instances, we should do what's right in every instance for everyone. However, in this case, we are going against the wishes of the majority of the city council on an issue that's near and dear to them, and they would like to be in charge of their own abilities to govern on their own, and we're taking that away from them, or appearing to take that away from them, from this fine resolution written by Ed Booth himself. And I don't know if that's our business right now. I mean, I agree with Tandy, we should wait and see what their meeting, what happens at their meeting, how it comes into fruition, how people speak. Maybe we'd have a better understanding. I've had a lot of people, since it was put on the agenda, I've had a lot of folks come to me and state what they felt was very important. And I don't think I've had one person come to me and say anything about safety. Safety is important. I agree with that. But so is doing what the leaders of this town want to do. These guys are trying to do their jobs. They're trying to find all the ways they can make the city of Washington solvent. They're working together as a political body to do that. That hasn't been done in decades, and I appreciate what they're doing. So I'm going to stick with their wishes, and if you want to put this off one more month, I'd be happy to do that as well. You think you got the votes? Yeah, I'm finished, but you got the votes, right?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Well, don't you want to wait one more month? Okay.
No, I'm not gonna wait one more month, and I'm gonna tell you why. The crash data from 2020 to 2024 shows there was 417 total crashes. I'm gonna be brief. Of those crashes, 3 was fatal. 11 crashes causing disabling injuries. Without significant improvement to the entire quarter, these crashes will continue and most likely will get worse. Now, let me ask you, is putting off another month worth another life or another crippled person or another accident? Can you look at a person? I remember the night when we left this meeting, and this person is not even on this list. We left this meeting, and I stood and looked at her wrapped up in a sheet. She rolling across the street in a grocery cart, groceries strung down the street. And I've been living on that corner on 15th Street for 30 years. I've been in there living longer than some of these people that's against this whole process been living in the city. I've been in this city for 50 years, living right here. And I know that this is a hazard.
Good.
I don't have anything to say.
You don't? Okay. Has everybody had their piece? Because I've got some comments. Okay. I'm probably going to take just a little bit of a different twist. Since when I come into Washington on a daily basis, if I have business up here, there's 3 ways that I go through Washington if I'm on the way to Greenville. I go 15th Street, I go 5th Street, and I learn to go 3rd Street during the construction down by Mom's Grill. Both of those get you through the city. I remember when we started talking about the roundabout. You talk about emails and calls. I decided to put on my voicemail that, that the roundabout was coming. You could tell me, whatever you want to say, just leave me a message, but I was not going to call you back. Now the only complaint I get about the roundabout is that we need lights there. But it's a safety issue. And I'm just like Ed. We had somebody to get killed in January. I was just reminded of that tonight. In January. I'm not going to have that on my back. Now I'm going to flip. This is talking about the economic, and Charles alluded to that. We have a medical complex that connects 264 and 17. And we are having discussion, and it's in the budget, in the state budget, if they ever get it approved, that would add 120 beds to our hospital. I'll repeat that again, 120 beds. It would be a tower. And guess what? It ties in with Martin. That's where we're headed. Martin would have an emergency room, but it wouldn't have any beds. They would have to bring those people to Washington. If they had a room in Greenville, they'd take them there. Before I leave that, I had a grandmother tell me just last week, brought her kid, because she, as many of you know, sometimes grandchildren live with the grandparents, came to the hospital here in Washington. They checked the child out. They called Greenville because they really felt like they needed to move, 6 years old, over to Greenville. Guess what? They were full, so they couldn't take it. Guess what? Washington was full. They couldn't take it. How would you like to be that grandparent? I mean, that's a need that takes time. I mean, that's not going to happen tomorrow, even regardless of what we do on this road project. We've got two schools at Market Street Extension. Okay? And we've got the new school, Washington Elementary School. All of this requires good traffic flow. But the other thing that we're missing on this is the economic development that's happening at the airport. We have over 100 acres in what we call an industrial park. I don't know what the official name is, but we've got a lot of potential there. So all of this ties together. You know, it's part of our future. And I've got emails, and they came in today. I've got voicemails. I'm not smart enough to do the voicemails and put them in the record unless Katie can help me. But I'm going to give these to her. One of these includes Representative Keith Kidwell, and Keith is in support of it, and he asked that I read it into the record, but I'm not going to do his unless I read everybody else's, and I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to give it to Katie to put it into the record. You know, I feel like this thing has been discussed, and it's time for us to move on it. I don't think the county commissioners are stepping on somebody else's toes. As you well know, we represent all the citizens in Beaufort County. That's 44,000 plus. And we have citizens that come to the shop at the center. I mean, look at the people that go out there on any given night to the recreation area. I mean, they travel down 15th Street. So I'm going to support it. And I would hope that we would have enough votes to continue to support it. The city still can have their dialogue with DOT. I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but I don't think our motion tonight is going to make any difference either way. We're not twisting it, but it's just like the elementary school. This county got $42 million out of the lottery funds. Didn't come out of the taxpayer money. But if we had funded that with a school bond, guess what we would have paid back? The citizens would have paid back $81 million. This project has a lot of infrastructure that needs to be done. So when people say, well, we're spending $38 million on just this short piece of, just to do something to the street, but it's the infrastructure there as well too. So anyway, anybody else have anything to say before we have a vote?
One thing I want to point out on this, I'm going to vote for this. You're at risk of losing $40 million again that can help this county, because if this goes, this funding on this is based solely on safety, public safety. And if it goes back into the pool again, the state's going to reassign that $40 million that's sitting there waiting on us right now. We're going to have to get in the queue again. And the way budgets go and the way things go, I mean, everything's prosperous right now. That's not to say it's going to stay that way. It might be 30 years before we get a shot at this money again. So we don't need as a public safety, project to lose this.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the resolution, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. All right, we're down on the agenda to the closed session, and Katie, I'll let you or Brian read us into the closed session.
A motion is needed to go into closed session under NCGS 143-3-1811A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, condition, and appointment of a public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee.
Okay, got a motion to go into closed session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Okay, we're coming out of the closed session. I need a motion to do that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. No action was taken, and so in the essence of time, I'm hoping no commissioner has any comments, because I've already told you that state's playing Duke now. Be careful. Be careful.
Well, this is brief. You mentioned the hospital issue, and I would like for the manager to present to us a copy of that part of the state budget that has the money in it for those 120 rooms.
I'll see if I can find it.
Because, well, one of the things here was when I was involved in this, I was sworn to 8 different kinds of secrecy. So I didn't realize it was in the budget this go around.
That meeting, there was a press release in the Washington Daily News, if I remember correctly, that had some comment.
But it didn't say anything. It was a nothing press release.
Well,
This is a big issue. For people to know, this is a big issue because it concerns economics, it concerns Beaufort County, it concerns the future of Beaufort County, it concerns the future of medical care in Beaufort County, and these people are planning a major event, and this Board of Commissioners has leased this property to that hospital, and we need to be in a position to protect ourselves and look to the long-term future for jobs in this county. And that's the reason. So if we can find that, we need to get it out.
anyone else?
Yeah, I want to think about the military action that's going on. We all need to pray, say a prayer to it. It is close. I mean, we had 3 jets in Kuwait that were shot down by accident. They came out of Seymour Johnson, and those guys were all right. But that's how close those jets, those pilots fly right over this city and county and to go into the bombing range. So there's no doubt that they're very well aware of us, but thankfully they were fine.
I'm gonna speak to that same issue, but not exactly what you were talking about. Yeah, we're in a military action in the Middle East. It was a long time coming. All of you guys are old enough to remember what happened in 1978 and 1979. Well, it went all the way through 1979. And, yeah, it was 79 through 80. And we know that as far as corrupt and evil and fascist goes, there's no greater government on the face of the earth right now than Iran. And what they do to their people is unconscionable. What they would do to us is even worse. So I really celebrate and appreciate President Trump doing what needs to be done, what should have been done a long time ago, but thank God they're doing it now. And they are tearing hell into Iran, and they're going to keep doing it. And I hope they do it till it's finished. So I think our prayers need to be with our president, all our military folk, and then we should hope there'll be enough forbearance on this issue that it will continue into fruition. Okay? That's all I want to say. That's my prayer tonight.
Okay, we've got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand.